we discussed about the two criterias, technical standards and administrative standard. That means whenever you test, you should take these two criteria into consideration. And in the previous session also we discussed that there are a lot of occasions when you have to choose between do the weighing between the administrative and the technical standards. Certain times you find tests which are high on technical standards but very low on administrative standards, or vice versa also. I gave you the example of the COVID-19 test also. You will find two different type of tests. One is very high on technical standards but less on administrative. Another test is very high on administrative standards but less on technical standards. So both tests has its own importance, and that is why both the tests are existing in the present circumstance and scenario. So, but when we talk about the technical standards, we talk about three aspects, that whatever tests we choose from the technical standards, that it should have the specificity, reproducibility, and sensitivity along with ethical fairness. That means we need to take a test which has the closest resemblance to the variable which we want to test. That's very important. Like we have discussed, if you recollect the previous discussions, we said that if you want to test agility, we took the example of agility. We need to see agility is different for football, agility may be different in a badminton, agility may be different for volleyball or any other sport because of the nature of the sport. So a shuttle run cannot be or may not be the a common agility test for all the sports because it may be lacking the specificity. So we may go for a T test for badminton players, an alienus test for a footballer. So you need to see about the specificity of the test, which is one of the most important standard aspects of technical standards, and that is all about the validity also, which we call it as validity. That is your test able to measure what it is meant for, which is very important. Second thing we discussed about was reproducibility. Reproducibility is all about repeatability. If you repeat the same test on the same person at the same time, will you get the same score? I took the example of the most simplest aspect, height. Various times you take an example of height, or even you take an example of the pulse rate of a same individual. If three people come and take a pulse rate with a manual process, there is a probability that all the three of the same person at the same time may come up with different figures. That means that particular test is not having the reproducibility. It is lacking the ability to reproduce. That is, confidence level is less. That means reliability is less. That is all about reliability. Similarly, we take an example of height also. Of a same person at the same point of time, if three different people take the height, there is a probability that three different people may measure the score of the height differently of the same person at the same time. Reproducibility. So you need to choose a test which has high reproducibility, that means high level of confidence, that is more probability of repeatability, that is all about reliability. And the third one is about sensitivity, in particularly in physical education and sports, which is very dynamic in nature, which is performance oriented, which is very much focused on progress, growth and development. Sensitivity is important. That means the test, whatever test you are able to select, your testing from the technical standards, it should be able to gauge the change, whether the change can be physiological change can be the psychological change can be sociological change, or any other variable, even the minutest of minutest change, it should be able to measure. We need to consider. I've just taken example, if you recollect in the previous classes, of the weighing scale. Why the weighing scale of a vegetable seller is not used in a jewelry shop? Both the weighing scale of a the vegetable seller as well as the jeweler may be very high on its own technical standards. It may be it has high amount of specificity. It may have high amount of reproducibility. If you measure 1 kg of potato on the weighing scale of a vegetable seller, 100 times you measure it, you will get it 1 kg, and it is able to measure the weight in kgs. So specificity is there, reproducibility is there. But that 1 kg, if it becomes 1 kg 10 gram, does that test has that sensitivity to measure the change in that 10 gram? 10 gram less or 10 gram more? In both the cases, does that weighing scale of the vegetable seller has the weighing scale, does it have a sensitivity? So you see nowadays that instead of the old uh, conventional style of weighing scale, now digital scales are more used. Why? Because digital scales are more sensitive to the minor changes. But again, it gives a change of maybe 10 to 20 or 30 grams. But even a change of 1 gram, which is not required for a vegetable seller, so he doesn't use it. But you talk about a jeweler, the jeweler needs a weighing scale which can even find a difference of even a zero 0.1 gram, because the goods which you sell is precious. The weighing scale should have that sensitivity to even measure the minutest of the minutest change in the weighing of that object. So does your, because with the human performance also, as we discussed, when you, if you talk about the fitness and various other aspects, even a small change in the girth of the muscle may be the effort of a long term training. A long term, it will be a hard work of dedication in training, diet, nutrition, techniques, and various other factors. The minutest of the minutest change in the girth of the muscle, can it be recorded? If yes, how? This, does your testing system of the equipment has that sensitivity? It needs to have it. The minutest of the minutest changes. The minutest changes. Yeah. The, in terms of speed, agility, strength, usually you need to have 10-meter, 20-meter speed test. In a 20-meter speed test, the minute of the minutest changes in the distance, in the timing, it matters a lot. Does your stopwatch, a test with a stopwatch is able to measure that change? That sensitivity is all about it. And surely we'll talk about the ethical fairness. Let me just take you to some examples and make this aspect more clear. Okay,